my time on the West Coast here. And yes, I am at it again. Still doing some validation. Okay, so I've been creating plays, adding a few features to my play editor to make creating plays better, better for me. Because again, no promises. I mean, okay, at some point it may be released as part of the game, but I really need it to to visualize, to understand how it works, and also for me to implement all of my play types. Okay, so my plays are actually I I want to talk like I know how other people built their games. Some I was able to determine that they do. And I've seen games that basically do a rough randomization of plays. Okay, so there are things that you would guess can't be done wrong, right? Simple addition, for example. Most games can, if they're working correctly, can sum data correctly. Um, but what a lot of games will do is they generate, for example, I think in a lot of cases games will work like my prototype did when I created it in a month back in over a year ago. When I refer to games, I don't mean all games. I mean simulation games, and more specifically football sims. But I really believe there are other sim games that do similar things because it's easier and it's invisible to the user. Okay, what that is they take a value that builds up off your stats. The stats matter. You build these stats up. Guys have x stat values. They have whatever these abilities are, right? And then they take those abilities and they make basic comparisons against the defensive players. They don't even make, there's no tests. The routes are there, but it's really just eye candy. And they don't even really run those, right? So what they could do is sometimes as they start to get more and more visual, they just have players run those routes and they just terminate at the spot that they expect. But there's no actual logic happening in those plays. Now I'm not talking about Madden. I have no Madden is it uses what do you call it, physics and all this other stuff to decide. And but most of these games are not physics based, right? They're not using actual physics based logic because they're not even happening on screen. They're just drawing lines for you. So what they take is all this data, and each one creates a math problem, and then that math problem, based on who wins the math problem, it's basically you add these numbers together, and then, bam, you have this running play with these guys get with these bonuses, and these guys get this value, and then it goes up against the defense, and the defense has their values, and it just, bam, and then they give you a random value that matches up. And in the play, you don't see anything happening, so there's nothing to show you, right? In fact, there's not really any players individually making contact with plays. They could call out, they could have the game randomly generate who the tackler was based on who's throw some odds in there for who's got the highest rated player. And the most likely player, maybe even based on the play says they ran in the middle, so then these guys are in the middle, and they're probably the ones that made the tackle. So they pick ones, and those numbers that determine who's better are the ones that are going to most likely get the play, right? And yeah, there's complexity to it, but at the same time, it's not what you think. Okay, a lot of it is just smoke and mirrors, stuff you're getting, and not all those things are even being, a lot of stuff you're seeing is just eye candy. You look at, ooh, this got this thing and this stat and that piece of information and this thing going on, and you're like, does that matter to anything? No, it doesn't matter to anything. I mean, it's not going to have an effect on the game. I mean, I don't know that vertical leap and bench press have any effect on some of these games? What their shuttle run times are, what their, there's some of these games I'll go into so many details of the little things they can do, the 40-yard dash. Yeah, they're fast. Okay, so they have but again, those numbers would all come together as a single value that gets mathed out. It's not actual tests. The players aren't individually contributing to the game, at least not in the way you would expect. So they're moving down the field. As they move down, they're not breaking tackles, trying to break a tackle. They're not juking anybody. They're not actually doing the things that would result in a play. So they don't have things like spin moves and jukes and stuff like that are in there. Now you could do a simple math. I believe there's a way to simplify all that and not have to actually do them during the course of a play. They could just add those all in and have a random generator says, okay, well, we're going to throw in this juke move on this, and it's just going to happen. But like games like The Program, I've seen and heard of several math bugs that don't make sense for a game that's truly mathing out what's happening. Because if you get 4 yards here and 5 yards, yes, there's things that could be off because maybe your logic is leaving out certain lines or doubling a line or something like that. And yeah, so it is possible. Though I think a game that's been around for a while, that shouldn't be happening, right? So if you've got pieces of data in your code that are truly being mapped out, you're getting true yards and not randomized yards. It should be pretty simple to just add up those yards to each other because it's basic math. Even AI can do basic math. 2 + 2 is 4 plus. Actually, that may not be true, but computers with a sum function are truly functions. They're not AI. So they do basic math. They will get your math right. Because if they didn't, the world would be collapsing. Because there's too many applications out there that require or that rely on on math functions within the computer. So know that it's pretty safe bet that a computer can do math and should not be making mistakes in terms of I gave you 50 lines of numbers and I expect it to have all 50 lines of numbers in the result. And why would you have a total of rushing yards for like one player and somehow have a different number in your total screen? How does that happen? That happens when your data is not actually connected that way. It's maybe supposed to be copying over. Maybe it's supposed to be looking at certain things. Maybe certain logic is being mathed out that's not summing up correctly. But it's a lot to do with the fact that it's not actually generating those numbers and then just moving or viewing that data. It's creating its own little pockets. So I say that because, again, not all games are like that, or not all football sims are like that. So don't get me wrong. Okay? But I have noticed some are doing something very similar to that. And their stats are very basic because it's very complex to do stuff where you actually track your yardage, right? In fact, a lot of times games will even have a single back always doing the running, never gets injured, is always the guy in. And they still don't always even bother with stats because it's kind of hard because they have to track who ran the ball because what if he's hurt? If he gets hurt, I don't even know. Some games don't do that. They just show who wins and then it's what their final stats are. But that said, I'm just telling you, my game's going to do all the stuff you'd expect a football game to do. Well, it's going to do more of the things that you'd expect a football game to do. And it is taking me a while to set up the infrastructure for that. Now, as you know, I've created a database and a microservices infrastructure that has now grown to like 14 services, all that handle specific parts of the game. And lately, I've been working on the playbook service. And I've actually, I keep telling myself, maybe I should just pull the plays out of the playbook service and handle the playbook and the plays separately. But truly, the playbook service doesn't have anything to do without the plays. So all the play stuff is the playbook service. The only things that are playbook specific are simply the functions that would be to handle the the creating the playbook itself, which is to put plays in it, which is going to be a couple of, it's going to be a very small portion of what that logic is comparatively. And a lot of that's UI, moving stuff around, and that's not even going to be on the back end. So anyway, as you know, my last couple of streams, if you look at my previous streams, you'll note that a lot of them have been saying things like game devlog play validation. And truly, it has been me validating plays. And what I'm doing even now is to go through my plays. So you'll see here all these PNGs. These are all of the plays I've created for the game at one time or another. However, several of them have been broken. And now I have to go back and confirm which ones are broken and which ones aren't. So these yellow ones are new, right? So if I have if I go find 008 is probably should match, right? Because that's going to be the same. But if I go down this list, I have some new ones in here. I've been sorting them this way because it allows me to see which ones have been created. So if I go 09, that should be fine. And then we have 10, which should be fine. And 11, which is also a match. Okay. And then, so we know 11's good. 10 or 0, 1, and 10. Then we go to 11 here. And that one is 13. As you can see, that's probably going to be different. I bet you that's not a match. Yep. That's totally different. Okay, so in order to fix that, I just go like this. Bam, now it's fixed. 13 is now a fixed image. So I can go like that. See, it's going to be yellow now. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm validating that I actually have all my plays lined up. So this 14 is not right. I don't even have a 14 in here anymore. I got to update this. But why did it say I have 14? 0. Huh. It doesn't even say I have one of 14, but somehow it's logging that it does. That's interesting. Why does it think I have? Probably because it has a page, but it's supposed to validate that the image actually exists. Huh. So I am looking at my validation process for play images, play editor, existing plays drop down, is supposed to check the DB data, see if a play has an image, and if an image path set, and if that image actually exists at the path, which for purposes plays is playbook service public images plays. I just noticed, however, that some images show in the existing plays dropdown with a check mark that image exists. but the image does not actually exist in the plays folder. This false positive makes it easy to miss which plays I need to generate images. Not only does this need to be fixed, but can we also in a separate agent create a test to validate play images. Test structure. Okay, so this one I can just create. So when I go like this, it should just generate, put me up at 14 here. Hey, there we go, I got 14 now. Yay, me! So now we got 14. And that one should indeed match that. Okay, so we have that. Turn yellow. It did turn yellow. That one's actually green because it's not a regular. Okay, so we're gonna go 14, and let's see what we got here. 15. 15 is not a match because it's not updated. I bet. Woohoo! Definitely not match. So we're gonna change that. Make it match. Perfect. Okay, we're getting there. That's what this validation is. Kind of pain in the rear, but definitely necessary. This is 01, which I'm pretty sure must match. Okay, so 01 is there. Alright, and then we got 05, says it's been updated. We'll match just in case, yeah. Then we got wing T counter, which is 06. And then we got formation off tackle, which is 17. Oh, 17 does not have an update. It's close. It's very similar anyway. We'll have to update that. There. So we are getting closer. Probably all of these are going to end up having to be updated. I don't know that some of those are going to, I mean, unless I get to 100 and something. Some of these already exist, so I'll have to, when I get to that, we'll figure it out. Okay, so all of my, I think all of my run plays are set. But I think 7, let's just do all of these. I don't have very many. 2, 3. I probably already did these. 3. 4. Yeah, I think they look pretty good. 5. Whoops. Oh, it's 7. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good. 12. 16. Oh, nope. Bunch running back screen. That's a screen? Barely. I don't think that guy's behind the line of scrimmage. Technically, I don't think it's a screen unless he's behind the line of scrimmage. So I think I'm going to adjust this. The game, when I have AI create these, it does do a lot of this weird stuff where it, so I'm gonna change this. So I think the idea is that it throws to him at this spot, which is kind of weird, but or actually I could do this. And if as long as he's still behind the line of scrimmage, we'll put him there. And then we'll say move. And then we'll say settle. This is kind of a weird play. The AI created this. Put these guys all right on top of each other, man. That won't be awkward to defend. Yeah, probably not great. I wonder if I should adjust that a little bit. See which one's which. Oh, that looks like he's him. So, all right, so we're gonna go with that one. I'm gonna actually take this and push it out a little further. Let's just have him go out to here. Just so that our players are not literally sitting on top of each other. There you go. Create a little confusion with coverage, but hopefully you won't end up with a pick play. You know, you might be saying, do you have pick plays in this game? Well, kinda. Oh, here's an interesting one. How come that lined up so weird? How come the image saved so weird there? Overall, it's pretty good, but some of these images are kind of wonky. Huh. Why is that one weird? Weird. It's like the players. I wonder if we have an alignment difference here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because notice how my players are off the line. Everybody's off a little bit. Is that normal? Yeah, it's normal. I wonder if I wonder if there's something I have to do to adjust the settings. Because I don't know if that's the standard effect. Yeah, see, some of them land up, these ones line up kind of weird too. How about some of the old ones? Interesting. I think they all did it. They're not lining up in the right place. Huh. Interesting. So it's image capturing, but it's not image capturing. Huh. All right, let's see what happened. This checked. In the play editor, JSX, I noticed when viewing the generated image after save that the field lines players do not All right, so I'm going to try something here. So we're going to go. And then we're going to go over to this guy, and we're going to go to screenshots. Wait for it to refresh. Refresh. Some point here. Kind of refresh. Okay, it's just down here. All right, so we're going to go. So shift. This first image shows what it looks like in the display editor. Note the black movement lines under Alt A LG GR. Then I need to go over here. This is 16. Do the same thing here. Notice in this zoomed-in view of a same play, generated image, how the players are offset from the white line and top black movement lines. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. So let's go back over here, finish generating. So we got 16. I created 16. It's a little weird, but we'll worry about it later. Let's go see what else we got here. 18. 18 does not exist, so I gotta create it. 18 now exists. And then we go here, which would be 19. Again, I think that one doesn't exist. These are all brand new plays. So we're just gonna slowly shift it down. 20. And 21. Okay, so that should match. Yeah, we're looking pretty good, except my lines are getting offset, so I may end up having to correct those, which is going to suck. I have to recreate them, but so at least I have the basic lines. There's things I'll have to try to fix at a point here. Right, so, but I'm not going to worry too much. I just really just wanted them to get created, so we got D. Now we got to try to do the D. So we got D up here. Most of these that are green and yellow are fine. I just got to make sure I don't have like a D11 here. That's not being generated. There's D11. And that one doesn't look like, well, it either hasn't been generated or it's already been updated. This one looks fine. I mean, other than the line offset, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so I think we're good. Alright, so we got 11, 12, which looks I guess it doesn't look the same, but it is different. Okay, so we got 12. We have 13 or 14. What is 13? Is that even a thing? I don't know what that is. 14, 17, and whatever that is, 18. So I don't know what this is. Or, no, wait, which one is it? 13? I don't even know what 13 is. Is 13 a thing? Oh, maybe that's a run play. Do I have a plain old run play? Oh, that's right. I have more plays than that. What I do need to do is change my blitz plays. I have to convert some of these play types. There is no blitz play type. That's a play. That's a behavior. And yes, there are blitzes, but they actually fall under the play type groups, I call them. Play type groups are a more basic type of some plays. Say, for example, a run play could have multiple play type groups. It can have blitz. It can be both a blitz play and a zone play. You know, I mean, it just depends on if whether or not that play meets the qualifying factors of a play. What time is it? I went to bed too late last night. I tried to go to bed earlier, but that didn't work out. So, such is the way of things, I guess. All right, so let's continue down this line. O2 is good. Looks good, right? I think most of these are probably going to be fine. 5-2. That one's on O3, which is there. I'm sure it's new. 5-2. 4. 4-6. Which is 6. Let's do a sanity check. We're still good. I'm going to have to go through and recreate all these plays. Ugh, that's going to suck. It'll be easier, though, because if it works correctly, I could delete the plays and regenerate them. 7, 9, and whatever that 13 is. But that does exist. It's really just a very basic run play is all it is. These guys don't do anything but check and set. They do have assignments, but there's not a... And I don't have any balanced plays to look at right now because I haven't defined them yet. I don't think there's any balanced plays anyway. 15. Okay, I'm gonna go look. I don't think I have any balanced plays, but maybe. Oh, there's one. One balanced play, DO8. Don't even have that play created yet. That must be one of my new ones. 4-3 base cover. Huh. Alright, well, I don't have a DO8, so let's generate the play. Now, no DO8. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I know, it's kind of a mess to look at this. I don't know how else you would do it, though. It's a lot of zone cover going on there. But that's the way it goes. I have one bounce. I have probably a lot of blitzes, right? Oh, I only have 2. Although they're going to be changed into some other thing. I think this is really just a pass play. It'll just be showing up as pass. DO5, which I don't have. There's no DO5. Okay. Now we have a DO5. Nice. All right. And I'll see how it doesn't have a check mark. It's supposed to, but it doesn't. That tells me the play doesn't exist. 16, 14, 15, 17, yep. And this is a totally broken play. Oops, I didn't even look at that one. Is that one broken too? No, it's okay. But this play is a mess. Here's the problem with this. See, AI is not positioning for the zone. So these guys are all like covering too far back. And so even though I have L1 here, who's going to move to 4-6 and do a zone, he ends up right on top of N1, who's not moving at all. Really what N1 needs to do is probably drop back to about here. And we'll do curl flat zone. Oops, I have to subtract this. And then we'll drop him back to here. Actually, no, let's turn that back. Let's go one more up. I don't know how far back it wants to be, but we're going to do this. Curl flat zone. Is that a great? There's no real overlap there, but we'll try it. And then this is supposed to be a blitz, but some of these guys are. What I should do is have these have like a drop back or some other thing I can add on to there, which will be nice later, but we'll work on those. We can either fix them up or. So we're going to take this out. And we'll go up to about here. And we'll say deep 3. Up too far. And then we'll do the same thing here. Deep 3, but that's got to go up to about the same spot. And we'll have him back up a little too. Take him up to about there. And then oops, scroll flat zone. I can't. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to just subtract a interior wrong one. Oh, nope, don't like it. Let's go one more. Let's go up one. There you go. So now I have a more logical play, I think. Actually, I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing? Oh, he's blitzing. So have him blitz around the outside. I wanna have him do a blitz around the outside. So we'll go that way. Oops. And then these guys are what? Are just pass rush? Yeah. And him? Hook zone. What is, oh, he's going out there. He's doing hook zone. Okay, so we basically have one guy blitz. This is just like an LB blitz kind of. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and create that. All right, so now we have a DO16, which is now created, which should match my play. Pretty good, yep. It's, yeah, we're doing pretty good there. Although I feel like, what else we got? Do I have everything? I have balance, blitz, pass, run. I think I did all of them. Yeah. Yep, I think we're good. All right, so there you go. There's my my new set of defensive plays. I got a fair number. I don't think actually though that these plays here, these 100s, I don't know that they actually exist. In fact, they did. I did create them because I pulled them in. I had AI create me a list of plays, and it wasn't using the actual system. So I told it use these IDs as you're starting, and then I broke my game and I had to fix those. I broke those plays. I dumped them all. It's like, don't. What was I doing, man? What's my problem? So let's get rid of. Okay, so yeah, I don't have any 100s. I got 07, 08. I even got some S's. Oh. Is this even all my plays? Chess puppet. I am making a football management simulation game. That's what I'm working on. And so what you're looking at here is my play editor I'm using to create the plays that the game system's going to be using. So it's being made in Unity, and it's going to be for the mobile and for mobile phones and for PC. And it'll this whole system here, this whole part here is the back-end services that are going to allow me to run the game, to have what do you call it, head-to-head play with other people. I mean, you could run your team against other team. It's a management game, so you're not actually controlling players, but it's about being able to create your game plan and manage your roster, and in a more in-depth than some games, but not as in-depth as others. It's going to be somewhere in that sweet spot in the middle for management, where you get a lot of good management stuff. You know, your roster, your what do you call it? Salaries and trades and free agents and what do you call it? The supplemental drafts and trades, all that stuff. You're going to have all that kind of stuff in it. And I have a lot of that stuff kind of getting slowly built out as we go. And then it's also going to have an actual simulation where you actually have players that go head to head on the field, and they execute what you did in your play editor, what you created on the play editor. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just validating some of the plays I created. Now, this play editor is my special tool that I created in React that will allow me to create the plays, because I need to be able to create the plays that the system's going to use. So all these little actions you see on here, like this run focus, pass focus, and then all the different spy, jam, what kind of coverage, these are all the values, types of actions I can assign the players on the field to perform during the simulation. And then I have my simulation engine back here is actually going to be running these actions in their, what I call them, skill checks against each other. And unlike a lot of simulators that don't actually run defense, they just run offense, and then the defense kind of hides. It just happens. Ones with visuals, some do a defense visually, but some of them do not. They don't even bother. They just say, okay, well, the defense did blah, and then here's your offense. But I'm trying to build a game that falls happily in the middle, where you get a nice looking simulation. It's not going to be Madden level, so don't get too excited. It's one person developing this thing, so my simulation, but I feel like I'm developing a simulation here that's going to be highly realistic in how everything happens on the field. But it's not unlike Madden, it's not physics based. It's logic based. So basically everything that happens in the game will have skill checks, and those skill checks determine what happens in the play and how the players will move on the field and what will happen. I don't yet know how smooth it's going to run, and it's going to be using 3D animations. What you see here doesn't look okay, so man, this really takes long to load. Oh, is it finally loading? Oh, it's finally loading. Okay. So what you see here is the style of the game. The game is called Fan, F-A-N, 2 Z, the letter Z, like A to Z, like a little bit of everything, or the whole gambit. Also fantasy, which is a play on words, right? So it's fantasy, and it's fantasy football. And it's a management. So it's fantasy football manager. That's what it is. And so it's going to have an aesthetic of a fantasy world. Everything kind of runs in a fantasy world. In fact, you even have players that are all fantasy styling. Not fantasy. There's not going to be any non-football. In fact, the game is intended to be very realistic as far as how the game actually plays out. So this is an AI image, so forgive me. There's flaws. I'll work on that later, but right now I'm working on the game just using AI images with hopes that before I actually go live, I'm able to create real images using real people to help me create them. But that's money, and I don't have any. So zero money will depend a lot on how well, when I finally launch my Kickstarter fundraiser, hopefully to start getting me closer to that final push where I start trying to pay people to help me with images and stuff. But so anyway, you're going to be in this fantasy world. So you have scrolls and things for your playbook, and your playbooks look like, everything looks kind of has a fantasy feel to it. Your players are actually made up of the mascots of the team that that drafted them. And this is like using real live NFL stats. So say, for example, Bo Nix. Okay, I'm taking Bo Nix. I'm a Broncos fan. He's the name that comes to mind. There's plenty of other players. I'm a football fan in general, but my brain right now, Bo Nix. Okay, so I'm bringing Bo Nix in. He gets imported in. He's going to actually not come in as Bo Nix because I can't. I mean, NFL licensing says, nah, I can't afford to pay the NFL. So what they're going to do is he's going to keep his last name, but the first names are all scrambled. So they're going to be first name something, some other first name Nix, right? So if I bring him in, he'll come in as whatever Nix. And then he has all of his stats and skills for that season are based on his actual NFL stats for the previous season. So a rookie in my game is actually a 1 year player from the NFL. So he'll have his skills based on his 1 year stats in the NFL. That's how everybody's going to work. So there won't be any true rookies. They'll come into the game. They'll be true rookies to the game, but their stats are built off of their actual performance. Now, that said, some rookies get drafted and they're meant to be players, right? But they don't actually get to play. So you draft a guy and he's on the bench all season. So those players, I may have to come up with some other logic for them to give them a 1 year's worth of stats or skills. But in general, it's going to be I have to come up with that rule. I have to decide how I'm going to do that. I intend to have no made-up players. If I can pull it off, there will be no made-up players in my game. They will all be actually based on stats and skills of real-life players. As they progress, like if you're doing like a franchise type league, as they progress, they will diverge from actual players in the NFL because they get their own skills and their training and they advance, and the game is going to have logic that determines how they improve. And unlike most games that do fantasy management, now I'm telling you all this stuff, you may not even be interested because you're like, oh, football, psh, you already went away. But for those of you who do return and actually want to know what the game is, what I'm doing, I realize there's a lot of people who go, oh yeah, no, I'm not interested. and then I'm talking to the ether. But that's okay. I do this a lot. I frequently will go over it when people ask. Just so that if somebody else comes along and is interested, they get that feedback. But so what I'll end up doing is I have a potential system built into my game where potential is not fixed. Most simulation games say, oh, this guy's got a 95 potential, and this guy's got a 68 potential, and that's what they are. That's what they can get to. And if you do everything right, he hits that potential. And that's it. That's his max. That's basically potential says that's his max. But in reality, in the real world of football, potential is not always realized. And not only that, it's not always accurate. There are plenty of 6th-round draft picks who were drafted with very low potential. They were told, they're 6. These guys, the reason they were drafted round 6 is because they didn't see much potential. But hey, we'll give him a shot. He's got potential. We'll just see how it works. But players do, in fact, frequently, round 6, round 7 players, not frequently, but occasionally do excel well past their potential. And so my game has actually got a logic system built in that allows the potential to adjust based on success. The more a player performs, the higher their potential goes. And same goes in vice versa. If a player has really high potential but is continually proving that they're not that good, their potential will start to drop, which will affect them long term, which will actually result in them not doing as well, because it'll limit their ability to succeed. The potential helps them to succeed. So yeah, if a player is a 6th-round pick, it's going to be difficult but not impossible for those players to occasionally rise up in the echelons of greatness, such as Terrell Davis. It doesn't happen very often, but there will be players in those later rounds that can occasionally reach the heights of greatness. And that's how my game is being written and developed. I've already written a lot of the logic, and not all the logic is in code. In some cases, a lot of it is just defined, and I'm plugging away at getting it all running. Some people ask, when is this going to be ready? Well, I'm hoping, right now, I want to have an alpha this year, maybe even a beta. But I am yet to get working on the actual simulation. A lot of what I can do to get this out is going to come down to how far I can get in the simulation. And it's already February, which is early in the year, yes, but we're talking about end of February. So that's one sixth of the year already down the tubes. So we'll see. I've gotten a lot done in the last year plus, 15 months since I started working on this game. So I feel good about where it's going, but it also has a long way to go. Anyway, there you go. My long-winded answer to your question. What am I making? What am I making, man? I'm making a game that's going to be cool and fits that niche that nobody else has managed to fill. At least in my opinion. My humble opinion. I have played pretty much every football game on the phone, on the mobile phone, and I've looked at a lot of PC ones. PC ones I haven't yet. But there's a couple I actually want to buy because I want to see what all the hype is about. Because I'm not seeing it. On Steam, I look at some of them and I'm like, really? Is this the thing that everybody is playing? And then I go looking at places like Reddit and Discord, and everybody's like, is there anything better than this? I'm like, I'm working on it. I hope it's going to be better. So we shall see. So anyway, this is, the game loading up. And here we go. So this is the V-Born Scorned. They are the Denver Broncos, of course. I'm using that team. If you were to descramble V-Born Scorned, you would see that it comes out to Denver Broncos. Yay! Where is my plays? Game. What happened? Where's my plays? Why aren't my plays loaded? Darn nuggets. Oh, it's not showing my game because I'm adding I'm adding the favored play screen, and in doing that, I haven't actually finished game plan. So this probably should be closed. As should this. Okay, so as I create my game plans, so these are what your game plans look like: distance to first goal, first down, second. I just created a couple of test plays. So if I click on one of these, you get the actual play, and you can edit it. So you can go here and click and go edit the play type parameters, and you'll see that if I go run, pass, I can select not only whether I want to use a pass medium, but I want to do it with a, oh, do I not have? What the moodles? My drop down broke. Constantly breaking things. It's my fault. I'm always breaking things, but this was working. You're like, sure it was. Let's see, is this one? Why is this not working? It was working last 2 weeks ago when I last opened it. All right, well. What this does allows you to select 0, 1, 2, or 3 for running backs, and tight end counts, I think, goes up to 0, 1, or 2. Actually, it might be 3. Maybe it's 0, 1, or 2 running back. Maybe it is 3, 3. Maybe you can get to a 33. I don't think you could do 33 because that wouldn't work, but you can do a 0, 3 or 1, 3 or something. Basically, it's the personnel count, how many running backs and tight ends, and then the difference is your wide receivers, and apparently things are currently not functional because I did something that broke it. But I'll fix it. I will, I promise. It'll be fixed again, probably by next week. And then you have favorite play, which doesn't yet work, but I'm working on that. That's the thing you saw popped up on the screen. And so, yeah, working on a couple things. So these two values, only I can edit. This is an admin menu. It allows me to add default and create AI game plans. So, and then this is supposed to be loading plays, but it did work. You know, I don't have the playbook copy and paste. There's supposed to be images in my plays, as you can see, not there, but you can click on them and see them. It'll say wing T counter and the name of the plays. This is all dummy data because I don't have any actual data in the system for that yet, but kick off deep, and so you can empty set QB draw. Those are the running backs, and then I can go to the defense and do the same thing. And then I have special teams, which don't know if there's any place for special teams. I don't have a lot of special teams. In fact, this is an iffy thing, whether I'm going to use it or not, because technically every play is an offense and a defense on the field, with the possible exception of a free kick. But yeah, anyway, this here is the game screen where you're going to get to go do your simulations. So this one doesn't have a quick menu because it's fixed. It only works like it's always the same range of time. It always runs like, I don't know, I haven't decided how much, but it's a fixed time. It's usually a lot shorter, and it's a chance for you to test out plays and get an idea how your plays look and work on the field. Usually against your team or another team who wants to scrimmage. Scrimmaging is different from a lot of these because, with the exception of league play, head-to-head coaching and quick play are all non-threats. They're just you playing your team against other random teams in the world. This one actually lets you put in an opponent team ID, and you can actually play specific teams. This one is supposed to allow you, and these two look different because I haven't updated their image yet. So yeah, patience. I'll have these looking like those pretty soon. But what this does is actually allow you to randomly play against another team in coaching mode, which just essentially says how well do you do as a coach against random teams, but you're not actually playing people. It will look for other people who want to do coaching mode if they're out there, but otherwise you might just be playing against an AI. And it all depends how popular the game gets as to whether or not this is something you can expect to find real people. So anyway, these are just options. And then you do kickoff. So if I go like this, so I can change the time, 5, 10, or 15 minutes. So if I did a 5-minute game, I can click on this. And then it'll do this bit. And it's supposed to show you the logos. And then you click. And it's supposed to pop open the game, but I don't have it set up to properly appear. I can go in here and turn it on manually. And there's the field. Then you can click. You can see on the field 2 players, this guy and that guy. It's kind of hard to see them, so obviously I got to work on my lighting and how the stuff is set up, because it's not focusing on them correctly. So yeah. What I probably want to do is change the way these 2 guys are not supposed to be. These are supposed to be moving cameras. Right now they're fixed, but they're supposed to be focused on the ball to a point, but I don't have them set up that way. So right now they're just left, right, and circular. So as they focus on the ball, I didn't even realize I have some kind of lighting going on here. Huh, check that out. I didn't even know I had that. You could tell because it's shady over here and sunny over here. So anyway, there you go. We're getting there. Progress, one thing at a time. I haven't done an update in a while anyway, so it's good to do. I do need to get my playbook, or this guy's got to start showing plays. I don't know why it's not. So I got things that are broken still. Anyway, that's my update for today. I've done my 1 hour. I'm trying to keep my streams shorter. I think 2, 3, 4, 5 hour streams are kind of long. So 1 hour it is. Till next time. God bless.